From the biggest sixes.
That's top tier, 15 rows back.
Beautiful cover drives.
Lovely placement. Good power as well.
Unbelievable catches.
Ouch, what a catch.
And accurate bowling. Join Dean du Plessis on Dean at Stumps as he brings you all the action from results, analysis, stats, exclusive interviews, previews and reviews in the wonderful world of cricket. Every Tuesday from 6 to 7 p.m.
Capital 100.4 FM. Leading the conversation.
There he goes again. That's huge. That's on the roof.
Welcome to Dean at Stumps, the cricket encyclopedia.
The Sri Lankans are stunned. The Zimbabweans are jubilant. Look what that means to them. The first ever series victory against Sri Lanka.
Hello and welcome to the Dean at Stumps podcast. Great to be with you. I'm Dean du Plessis. And just before the series gets underway, Harare was visited by a rainstorm which swept through the city. And I'll tell you what, it bucketed down thoroughly and properly at Harare Sports Club just before and just after the press conference. And, how will the weather respond? Will we have more of this rain, this slightly unseasonal rain? I tell you what, some people are very happy with the way things turn out and due to the rain because, let's be honest, despite the fact that, yes, certainly people up in the east had heavy rains, some parts in the rest of the country are actually struggling for rain. Anyway, on with the cricket we go. So the UAE started off their tour with a very convincing performance against the Chairman's 11 at Old Hararian Sports Club on Monday with a very comfortable 5-wicket win. And their captain, Mohammad Naveed, was naturally very delighted with the way the first game went.
Yes, of course, I am very happy because team is very good going. We have practice is very good. Preparation is very good in Dubai. Also, the match is very well because this reason we are very good teams.
How important is this series against Zimbabwe and how important is it for you to do well as a team?
Zimbabwe team is a very good team. It's test nation. We are associate team, but we have very skillful teams. Inshallah, I will hope we are good matches in playing against Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe is test nation team is very good team, experienced team, but we have also skillful players. Inshallah, hard will do.
And do you feel that you are capable? Can the team possibly cause an upset and win this series, or are you just focusing on taking it one game at a time?
Yeah, of course, this is cricket. We last playing World Cup qualify. We beat in Zimbabwe. Is his special. Yes. This is a cricket game, part of game. At end of is a one team is win. We have very skillful player. We have very skillful team.
That is the captain of the UAE, Mohammad Naveed, talking about the skill of the team, and they do. I think of that there is no doubt, but it's just, as is the case with so many of the up-and-coming nations, there just is not enough game time for the countries to develop their skills. And speaking of skills, it definitely is worth mentioning 17-year-old Dion Myers, who at number 4 scored a very impressive 52 of 72 deliveries, shared in a couple of good partnerships, one with Roy Kaya and a very good 5th wicket stand of 80 with Ryan Burl, who of course made 44. So just keep a little eye out for Dion Myers, because some of the shots that he played, in particular the straight drives, were most pleasing on the eye. Well, you remember that in last week's Dean at Stumps podcast and also on the Dean at Stumps live show, which, don't forget, as the promo told you, is on every Tuesday night, just after the 6 o'clock news, Zimbabwe time, that is, of course. We spoke to Sikandar Razabat, and of course we also spoke to head coach Lauchant Rajput. And let's just give you a little bit of a teaser, a bit of a reminder as to what Raza had to say. And he first of all started off by talking about the quality of the UAE.
Look, I'll be very honest with you. I rate UAE team as a very, very, very skillful, very quality team as well. Lack of cricket may have kind of hampered their growth in a lot of ways, but because I've been fortunate enough to go there, to be part of a few leagues that were played in Dubai and to be part of a few leagues where the UAE boys were playing as well, those guys are extremely good cricketers, and what I can say is that we guys are preparing as well as we can, and we should be, and we are confident enough of having good results against them. My message to the fans, I will be posting on social media soon. It's a little bit of a surprise for them, but it is something that I wanted to do it, but I couldn't because of the fact that I wasn't part of the home series after we kind of fell away with Zimbabwe cricket. So now things are back. It's my first home series after the qualifiers. So there's a little bit of something that I wanted to do for fans.
And since we had that interview, of course, he did post on social media. And just a reminder, or perhaps maybe you haven't gone into social media due to the incredible price hikes by the various networks and service providers. But what Sikandar Raza basically will be doing is that on game day, he will be leaving 50 tickets at the gate for every game that is played. But it's a first-come, first-served basis. So it's not one of those where you can have a quick look and find out through the grapevine, oh, well, Zimbabwe are batting first, and then you see, yeah, maybe it's worth going down to the ground because they seem to be posting a good total. If you do that, well, then you're not going to be able to get in free of charge. But if you do get there, you may be one of the lucky ones to get in to the ground. So that is how it works. 50 tickets per game. And on Sunday's game, Sikandar Raza will actually be leaving 100 tickets at the gate, at gate 4, I believe it is. Also, Brendan Taylor, PJ Moore, and Kyle Jarvis getting involved in this act as well. So good to see some of the players getting involved and making sure that tickets are there. And don't forget that all of the proceeds of the 4th One Day International will be donated to Cyclone Idai. And we still continue to think of the people who were so badly affected by this devastating cyclone up in the east of Zimbabwe, and indeed those in Mozambique as well. Well, of course, we've heard from Sikandar Raza, but now we also hear from head coach Lalchand Rajput. And remember that this is a reminder, just reminding you as to what was said last week when they were interviewed. And naturally, coach Lalchand Rajput was talking and very disappointed about the lack of international cricket that Zimbabwe have had up to this point.
Yeah, we'd like to have more game time because if you look at the other test playing countries, they are really playing a lot of cricket. But I think now the things are happening. We had this domestic tournament, so we almost had 2 to 3 months of cricket there. And after this, then we have got a lot of cricket coming up as well. So it gives us a good opportunity for us to prepare for that. And I'm sure the players are also very happy that they are coming from the domestic cricket to the international cricket.
Some of the players who've really been very impressive is players like Craig Irvin and one of two of the players, the lesser-known players, Daniel Jakil, who they call Malinga, because he has a very similar action to Lasith Malinga from Sri Lanka. I want to just briefly talk about Craig Irvin. There seems to be something different about him. He seems to be very aggressive and positive when he goes out to the crease. What do you think has changed the mindset? You as a former player, what do you think has changed Irvin's mindset to be as aggressive as what he now is when he's playing his cricket?
See, every player goes through a rough patch, and he had a rough patch in between. But the domestic cricket has really helped him because I said that, as an international player, you got to dominate domestic cricket, and I think he has done that. The only thing is that the mindset, as you said, mindset is very important. Every game he has to take it very seriously. In cricket, when you're in good rhythm, good nick, you have to carry on and get big score. And that's what he has done. I have spoken to him many times because he was not part of the Bangladesh test team because we had dropped him. But, he has come back very strongly. He has made himself, I would say his bat is talking. And I'm sure he will carry the same form which he was in the domestic cricket into the UAE tournament.
Wise words by Lalchand Rajput, Zimbabwe's head coach. And it's not just about the form of Craig Irvin. It would be very nice to see Zimbabwe cricket be brave, bold and courageous and ensure that some of the younger players get a bit of a look in. So if Zimbabwe do have the luxury of going 2-0 up in the series, who knows? We may see a few pleasant surprises in the 3rd and 4th one-day internationals and see some of the younger players get a fair run at it. Well, one of the players who, there's two very influential players who will not be part of the series, those two being Brendan Taylor and Hamilton Masakadza, both who picked up injuries. Brendan Taylor struggling with a calf muscle, a torn calf muscle. That must be very painful. And Hamilton Masakadza with a hand. I actually saw the big bandage, the strapping on his left hand, and I'm not entirely sure that he'll be a part of the series at all. There's hope that he might be available for the 3rd and 4th one-days, but I'm not entirely sure. Nevertheless, I caught up with Hamilton Masakadza during the warm-up game at Old Herrerians and started off by asking him about that hand.
Oh, it's coming along, Dina. So this is the week where we can tell whether I'm going to be ready or not. So just in comes the physio, just have to check, keep checking like day by day. And just, we'll know by the end of the week whether I'll be ready to at least play in the last couple or not.
So what actually happened?
Dropped the catch.
Oh, gosh.
No, I ran in and dived forward, but the ball was actually carrying, so I sort of went past it a little bit. So I got it on the end of the thumb, and that was that.
All right, so the UAE is obviously, they're definitely no longer the so-called pushovers that they used to be, say, even 5 years ago. You must be very disappointed that you may potentially not be a part of this series at all.
Yeah, definitely. We don't play a lot of international cricket, so we always look forward to whatever games that we get. And now we've actually got we had a long break before Zimbabwe Cricket organised this tour for us. So now to be potentially missing out, like you said, it is a little bit disappointing. And like you said, all the teams have pretty much improved, and you don't really have like the lower opposition that you used to back in the past. So it's definitely going to be a competitive series, and definitely would have been a good one to be involved in.
Tailor-made, if you'll excuse the pun, however, for some of the younger players to come through and to stamp their authority and to try and get a couple of spots on the side as well, though, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. When other people miss out, it's always an opportunity for someone else to put their hand up and step up and fill in that gap. So from that point of view, I guess, like you said, we get to have a look at some of the younger guys, and they get a chance to show us what they can do as well, and hopefully push for places, like you said.
Okay, it's not a nice thing, but I want you to take me back, because matches now, from now on until the end of time between Zimbabwe and the UAE, unfortunately, are always going to leave very bitter tastes in the mouth, because obviously of what happened last year in March. Not a nice thing to do, but I want you to take us back to the day when it all went down. Talk us about the rain that was about, the atmosphere, and then obviously the big disappointment at the end, because so much happened in one day.
Yeah, obviously very disappointing. I mean, everyone was devastated. I was speaking to one of the supporters, one of the parents of the under-19 boy who made his A-side debut today, Dion Myers. He was telling me that even his wife was speaking on his behalf, that he was sort of nowhere for the whole week. He just didn't know what was wrong with him and just what was happening in the aftermath. But yeah, to have gotten so close and to miss out at the end like we did was really devastating. But just in terms of the atmosphere, I thought it was brilliant. The guys came out in their numbers, really backed us, really supported us throughout the whole tournament. I mean, some of the games had to be moved from BAC and OH because they just wouldn't have been able to contain the people, because people are coming in such numbers and they're in such good voice throughout the whole thing that it was really brilliant for us, the support that we got and the way the supporters came out and got behind us. But yeah, unfortunately, like I said, it was really disappointing not to go all the way for them, especially for the way that they'd come out to support us. But yeah, it's part of the game, it's part of life. We move on from that, and like you said, Zim UAE matches then definitely take a different sort of outlook now ever since that time. So hopefully we can right the wrong straight away, and obviously if we put them away in the series, it will obviously clear any of those doubts.
And your captain, your vice captain, should I say, PJ Moore, who will be standing in while you recover from this unfortunate injury. Are you happy? Do you think he has what it takes to take over from your big boots?
Yeah, definitely. He's been doing the job for the A side and for his domestic team. So hopefully this step up gives him a little bit of opportunity to also see what he can do at the high level. But he's already been in the job for 2 or 3 years, so I'm not really worried about him picking it up and going with it. But yeah, it's obviously a little bit different starting your first internationals. But yeah, just wishing him all the best and just trying to help him out in any way that we can before we start. But obviously when it comes down to it, it's going to come down to him. He'll obviously have a lot of help around him. But I think he showed good signs, and he's had a little bit of practice with it. So yeah, really looking forward to seeing him take part in the job.
I mean, when you get to this age that you are now, it's certainly not old yet, but it's just at that niggling age where injuries take a little bit longer to heal, both you and Brendan Taylor. So what, you're 35, 36 now. Do you still feel that after the injury that you have quite a bit in the tank and that you have a fair amount to offer? Or do you now get to the point when you start to think, maybe now it's time to start to consider spending a bit more time with the family? What goes through your mind?
Oh, funny enough, you mentioned that we were just laughing about it with BT the other day. That this is the first time that I've actually ever heard of BT missing any cricket through an injury. But yeah, I still think there's quite a bit in the tank. I think it was just unfortunate, just the extent of the injuries, because his was like a complete tear and mine was like a complete fracture. So really, either way, with those sort of serious injuries, there's no really getting around it. But obviously, they've been a slightly less hectic. Then we might have had a bit more of a chance. But yeah, you take the good with the bad. We've had quite a bit of time out there, and we haven't really missed too much through getting injured and the rest of it. So yeah, it's bound to happen at some stage. And yeah, you take it when it comes, and you just hope you recover quickly from it, and you come back.
And then, of course, do you still get the thrill, the excitement of going onto the field, whether you're moving into your customary slip or opening the batting or whatever the case may be? Is that still that thrill of 18 years ago when you made your debut against the West Indies as a young 17-year-old, all these years later?
Oh, yeah, it's a total honor and privilege to represent the country, and it's something that I've never lost sight of, and it's something that I've never lost the meaning of. I mean, you talk about the thrill of getting onto the field. For me, it's even just putting on that jumper while I'm still in the changing room. It still has a special meaning and a special effect for me, and it's something that I've enjoyed doing for, like you said, for the past 18 years, and I've continued to enjoy it. And I'll never lose the importance of that.
Well, that was Hamilton Masakadze in conversation with me. And, it'll be so interesting to see, fascinating to watch, won't it? How will PJ Moore respond as the captain of the side? And will Hamilton Masakadze then once again be able to force his way back into the side after he's recovered? Because we all know that, unfortunately, leading up to the unfortunate injury, form has not been on a big man's side. And a lot of people have also perhaps been very critical as to his captaincy in terms of going from being quite positive in the field to defensive, bordering on negative very quickly. Of course, all of this will tell, and that's only in the future. So for now, we focus very much on the present, which will be the 4 one-day internationals starting on Wednesday. You've been listening to Dean at Stumps podcast. It's been great being with you, and we'll be back very soon for the next edition. Until then, it's goodbye.
From the biggest sixes.
That's top tier, 15 rows back.
Beautiful cover drives.
Lovely placement. Good power as well.
Unbelievable catches.
Out. What a catch.
And accurate bowling. Join Dean du Plessis on Dean at Stumps as he brings you all the action from results, analysis, stats, exclusive interviews, previews and reviews in the wonderful world of cricket. Every Tuesday from 6 to 7 p.m.
Capital 100.4 FM. Leading the conversation.